am streaming. Okay, and now I hit go live. And I'm so live. Can't even imagine. All right. Welcome aboard. I know there's people that have been actually waiting for this to start. So I'm assuming that's a sign of excitement. I'm going to decide to pretend it's very much a sign of excitement. All right. So, welcome to the weekly Underjord stream. I should get a snappy name for the stream, but that's not the important part. The important part is that we're going to be dealing with this little thing. I already plugged it in, so it is on. And if I move it inside the camera, you can even see it's blinking. And that's the heartbeat blink that they have set it up with by default, which just tells you, yeah, it's working. And you can disable it, but that's what the situation is. All right. If you're in the chat, say hi. And if you have questions as we go, don't hesitate to tell me. Also, if there's anything with audio, visuals, any of that, just let me know. But it looks fine from where I am. Weirdly, the people that were lined up have disappeared. So I'm gonna blame YouTube for that one. Hopefully everything's fine. All right, so this is the calendar gadget. The point of the calendar gadget is that I want to be able to see what's next on my calendar without doing anything, essentially. So we have this application that I built here and there over time. It uses the eInk library that I built way back. And it uses it to do some interesting stuff. Let's see, the refresher module here just means we set up the calendars to refresh on a schedule. Apparently we pass it an interval, so I guess I have to check where I started, what the interval is. Or it has a default. Oh, there was the interval, 60. So every 60 seconds it repulls these iCal, VCal, Norland. It will fetch the VCal file or iCal file and reparse it and store that data locally. And if it finds any information, that will be broadcast over PubSub and picked up by this device and this thing. So this is the web page that this little dude is serving. So if we actually log into this one, and don't worry about my calendar, I'm using a demo calendar. We can actually see that currently there are no upcoming events. I want to add some of that. So upcoming one. I want more options. I want to add a location. Foo. Bar. Okay, whoa, that's not something I necessarily want to show. Notification, don't super care about that. Brief. Description. Multi-line. Woo. What happens if I bold that? All right, so that's one event. Can make another one. So let's duplicate that and just shift it to be 1 hour later. I want to rename it so it's upcoming 2. So now we have some more data to pull. So we can alias calendar app.calendar and then do calendar.list. And that gives us our list of calendars. So I've already added this just by the calendar link. So that's that private calendar link, very sensitive. Demo calendar, don't worry about it. So I captured this calendar. And to actually pull it manually, the updater will do this in a minute. Oh, actually, I didn't have to run it because it just did. So you can see live how this eInk display is refreshing and reloading, which is not a fast process. This is why you want fairly static content for an eInk display typically. Calendar dot update. Oh, right. Can't really alias calendar. It's not going to be good. There's already a calendar module in Elixir. But I can tell it to pull the calendar. It will find the events. It will start showing them. Did I put this in October? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, dear. It's October today. I entirely based on that. Something it's currently doing is I see that it's showing the times in some other damn time zone, which is not ideal. Yeah, Marcel, I realize it's October. I hadn't realized though, so it's uncomfortable. But something I think it's doing right now is that it's, regardless of what it's finding, it is updating the state, and it yeah, so it should only be pushing that if there's a change. So let's see what Inky does. Inky display will reload on on updated calendar ID. When do we trigger updated? Calendars. Yeah, that should only be if it changes. Maybe there's a timestamp or something in there that makes it always change. But we can mitigate this in another way, I imagine. Let's see, the Inky display. It does paint current. So pull, get next event. Right, so it doesn't actually store this next event, which is a little bit ish. So yeah, I think I want to modify this a little bit. So if it returns the state with an updated next event in it, last event, because right now this state doesn't contain that, so let's do next event nil, last event nil. Because we should only really redraw. So paint current. If next event is not equal to state dot last event, then we might as well redraw. But if it's the same, just return the state, and then we need to keep this state. So this would probably help with the redrawing too often. Actually, at this point, I think it would be good to start the development server, because we might want to iterate a little bit on the visuals. So I'm starting the local right into this one there. So rather than looking at nerves.local, we'll go to localhost 4000. Let's hope that this one also has that calendar loaded. It should. Yep. And if we do this, it doesn't seem to be rendering the preview, which I would still expect it to do. So we'll see. It's probably something screwy going on. Tmux and nope. Never remember which split is which. So I've done a lot of change work to make this work on nerve specifically, so I don't remember what the last state of the development server was. I might be doing something screwy that has sort of messed it up, or might just now change to make it not refresh as aggressively, might have broken it. I don't know. We can see. Paint. No paint. I think we'll have to restart it either way. So yeah, this one goes no paint. Which is a little bit unfortunate because yeah, this. Hey Carolyn. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen your name before. So that's unfortunate in that whenever we connect a new listener, it will not get an initial render, which is bad. So let's redo this. Now we get the paint. Okay. Then I will hold off on this particular update. So this is how we're drawing on the screen. So that's worth seeing, I guess. I'll just delete this code for now. So we're saying, give me a blank buffer. So I built a few calls that made basic drawing bearable. Draw a rectangle from there to there with the accent color from the spec of the display. So if you're running a yellow Inky, you would just reconfigure it a little bit and it would still work. And as always, questions are welcome. If you wonder why my camera is a little bit slow and wonky, I've switched cameras. I have the good camera on this one, but I have a pretty neat camera up here right now. It's a it's a spooky AI-driven motorized camera, but it's, yeah, unfortunately the visual is pretty garbage. It's actually very slow right now, and I'm not sure why. It might just have overheated at some point. Probably needs a break. But yeah, so this zone, not very fast updating, not very not at the best quality, but at least this one is looking nice. So I'm thinking I want to add more information from the event. That's my first point here. So we're pulling the summary title. Let's inspect next event, see what we have. Right. I think we'll just have to restart it. So we have so now we have a description, which is HTML. Now we have to decide if we trust that one. And we have these things. They are set as UTZ. We have the location field. All right. So location field feels like a good early one to do. I guess we have DT end as well, but I don't care about that one necessarily. So location. I think we can shift this title further down and just try this at 24. I'll try this with small, I think. And I want to use location for that one. Restart the dev server. Foo bar. That looked like crap. Let's do same as title. Let's see if we can do, if the body one does better. Yeah, that's okay. I think what I would like to do with that is probably put it further down. So let's do state.spec.height minus 28. That should put it quite far down. Hey Ashtosh, welcome. It could be even further down. Let's see. I don't know exactly what the height of these fonts are. Okay. Now, whether that's a good idea depends on sort of what we want to show further. Maybe do 32, and then I'm considering whether we should be pulling the next event just so I know what's coming up, which means we need to change this a little bit to give us the next events, plural. Reject past events, sort by start case events. Okay, so I could do this. Just do and sort by start, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking enum take, but I wanna just check what that returns. I'm guessing it returns an empty list if it fails. Take 10 from 3, yeah, that returns the full list, which would be fine. Num, enum list, da 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 da, enum dot take, num. Hey McBull, no worries. I think you had better things to do than hang out here. All right. So we want next events 2. And then it's events. Like we want to make sure that we sort of assume that we have at least one event. So if we have an empty list, just nil. But if we have any events, yeah. So this is still the next event. And so let's see, I would want to pull the DT start and so I want to pull the after title and the after start from that secondary event if it exists. So case events do and so if that one has summary after DT start and anything else, then it's just empty. So we can do format DT on this one, make sure we have it formatted and those are strings. Then we could just add this one, right? So pull this back to 16 and do after title after start. Hope these aren't too wide. Next. Maybe potentially a little bit wide, right? There's a risk of wideness. Let's do after title only. and bump this one up to minus 48. This one is minus 32. Oh, so this would be after start. What does this look like? Yeah, at this point, this location can just move down. So at 20 or so, I think. Try to at least keep them a little bit apart. No? Oh wait, the title is at 24. That's no good. So that's 40 pretty much. So let me know if you have questions. Let me know if there's anything you're wondering about. But yeah. So then I could see the upcoming event. I would like a format on the upcoming one. So we have this format DT function, which just mangles the datetime string, and I would like to be able to just get the time. So if we do this, but at this point, like we should probably parse it. So from this, yeah, okay, so we get it as a native date time. Then it's to time. No, if we want to change the time zone. Shift zone. I wonder, I think, so I have TZ data, so I assume I can. Calendar.get timezone database. Oh, I have time mix, so I guess that's fine. So if I do calendar app dot calendar dot lists calendar app dot calendar dot get next event, then that means that my event has a DT start. So now I have a date time. So if I want to datetime dot shift zone, comma, I think is it EU Stockholm? Is that how I write it? Or is it Sweden Stockholm? SC Stockholm? Europe Stockholm? I don't remember. Also, I'm apparently syntaxing it to hell. Europe Stockholm. Thank you, Norland. That's helpful. All right, so that looks better to me. And since this is mostly built for me, I will just add I will still make it fairly configurable. You probably want to modify things in this anyway, so date time dot shift zone to time zone. And then, I mean, there's format string style printing of these, I'm sure, in this, like toString. But yeah, this mangling I'm doing is pretty fine. Actually, I'm going to have to modify it because now we'll split at a plus, just take the head, and if there's still a trailing 00Z, it will strip that. Yeah, and in this case then, rather than splitting at that, I mean, I would like to just this to time. So I could do date time to time and then see what I can have that do. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So that means I can use time only on this one. Oh, broke something. No? Did I do it poorly? To time. No function. Clause matching. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what's going on. I got an OK tuple there. So, assuming this was successful, we can be crude and just do grab element 1 of the time zone shift, which will then mean that we're no longer in a tuple. It will also fail horribly if the conversion fails. Do not click the Phoenix header. And I would like the time format to just, so string replace, like if I have a 0000, I want that to just be 00. How's that for time zone management and time printing? All right, now it looks the way I want it to look. That's pretty good. So I don't know if I've shown this one on stream yet, but this preview is absolutely gnarly in how it works. I did the simplest thing I could imagine doing, which was each pixel is a div with very explicit CSS. This is a red pixel. There's a lot of those. Yeah, sorry, the inspector didn't show up in browser. Hold on. Should be able to fix that. Except the inspector almost breaks down. So let's skip that one. Yeah, for 20,000 pixels, that's not a problem. I'm not sure how it would perform with larger devices. No, Jason, it's not the new Scenic web integration. Thing is, you could very straightforwardly do this with Canvas as well. And then it would perform this trivially, probably. But Jason, I know you've worked with Inky some, and I don't know if you used Inky host dev at all when you did that. But that uses WX widgets to draw a native window that matches your display. It's a pretty neat thing. And then there's... Yeah. I think the Scenic project did end up doing a Canvas or WebGL driver. It doesn't really matter. They're both built on Canvas, but one uses WebGL for rendering and one uses sort of native or JavaScript APIs. But yeah, so this is just much easier for iterating on a concept like this without needing to push firmware to the device all the time. So I'm very glad that when we built Inky, we built a facility for replacing the entire hardware, an abstraction, if you like. Oh yeah, GLFW, if you were using Scenic, would be fine for local testing as well. The Scenic driver for Inky does not render super pretty though, especially if you're doing fancy stuff. So I really like how sharp the rendering on this one turns out. So yeah, that's probably where the focus is. And that's because these are pixel fonts and you don't get any anti-aliasing attempts or anything that won't work for this kind of pixel format. All right, anything else we should add? I think I want a divider for... I think I want to divide just a black dividing line between these. So that would be before the after title. So pulling that up to 48, and instead we draw a rectangle at, well, let's see, let's inset it a little bit, see how that works. And have it go to state.spec.width -8 and state.spec.height -z 47 probably. And then it should be black. See how that treats us. Huh. One line thicker than I figured I was trying for. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with being just off by one, but that makes sense. but I do want it lower. So let's move it down. That means increasing the minus here, I guess. So it should, oh yeah, that would be like 34 or something. It should be close to that title. I'm gonna see so many calendar events where it's like, yeah, location is a URL and this is gonna look like crap. But that's the kind of thing you have to deal with sometimes. And I guess I could add a truncating function for that later. I think this is a pretty neat start. Actually, I should probably tease this a little bit. So I have this box that just arrived. There's a few things in it. I accidentally a lot of displays. So this is an 8-inch HDMI kit thing. Actually, let's see if we can get some of that in the picture. It's larger than Inky, so it might not fit. But so, and here's the panel, just wrapped in bubble wrap and sort of a ribbon connector to the rest. Gonna try that. So that's just a straight HDMI display, which means I won't be having to build drivers or anything. And I think it provides a few GPIO pins or something. I'm not sure what the button situation is exactly. There are some. I know that much. But that's something I'm planning on doing something with at least. And this is probably more convenient. So this is already, somebody bothered to finish building this one. So it has HDMI, micro USB, so I'm betting that's power. And, or maybe it's, no, it doesn't have any buttons. So I'm guessing, yeah, that's probably just power. There's a whole bunch of things you can solder things to as well, but I hope I don't have to. So this is the HDMI backpack touch controller PVMable backlight. So, well, it does provide touch, so I guess that's what the micro USB is partially for. I'll have to investigate closer and figure it out, but this seems like it could be a neat display to play around with. And if I don't even get the touch working, that's not even a big concern. I just want something that can let me display things off of the Pi 400. That's the biggest reason to have these. Also, it's nice whenever I pick up a new device to be able to sort of output things from it. HDMI cable. Very exciting. It's black. This thing I haven't even opened yet, but this is an extender for the GPIO. So let's open the bag. I didn't prep the camera for unboxing anything right now, so this is a little bit ad hoc. Came with rubber feet. So let's see, that's where it is. So this would plug into your Pi 400, and this would make those headers oh so much more available. It also has these little things on the side, which are quick connectors. That's a neat solder-free way of connecting hardware that's adapted to that. I actually want to see how this plugs in at once, so let's bring out this. Oh, I think I'll do it up here because it's a little bit tricky to maneuver under the zoomed out small camera. Actually, I might be able to just zoom it out a bit. There we go. Still gotta get this. There's the GPIO protector off. And then this just slots in like so. Oh, like so. Some violence required because it's a decently long connector. which means now I could unplug Inky and put that on there. Similarly with the OLED hat and any other connector, which is nice. It's good to be able to use GPIO on this thing. And yeah, also good to be able to try the quick stuff, because of if you looked at the Nerves weather station book, that one uses Quick for easy solder-free setup. Now apparently it can be a little bit challenging to get those particular sensors. MacBook would know, especially in India maybe, or they might be out internationally, I'm not sure. Alex Kutmos creating demand on the market. Let's see, there's one more thing in this box that I got. And this is a pretty one. So this is the Inky Impression. I think it's Impression. It's the newer Inky display at least. So it has a very nice silk screened circuit board, or back of the circuit board. But this one, yeah, one more thing. Yeah, but this one is a 7-color eInk display. It also has buttons on the side, which is nice. They're probably just GPIO, so that's actually convenient to have some interactivity with it, because then you could have it provide 4 different views and you could just switch between them. Or like, you don't want to navigate menus with something that has a 15-second refresh time. It's like seconds per frame, not frames per second. And these are some nice mounting holes, so I could yeah, with I bought some standoffs and stuff, so I should be able to just mount it neatly on something. Or yeah, so many options. But I felt like with Inky being my path into Elixir, I felt like I needed to order this one and see if I could bring it to life. And apparently Jason Axelson has also accidentally ordered one without realizing that there's not a driver already. So now he's been roped into helping make it work. And Jason has one coming, which, like, Jason was instrumental in testing the W hat on the original Inky. So getting the band back together. I did poke Emilio Niare, and he poked me a little bit around the Inky Impression when we saw it, but I don't think he's going to be joining the band for this one. He's busy doing other things. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the new one is where this hack with the pixels will break down. I don't think that's going to be good enough. Okay, we've made a bunch of changes. It might be nice to see that they work on device, even if I'm pretty confident that they will. So actually, let's see, that would be detach. Cool. Because now, so export, yeah, prod, mix target. Actually, I should steal some from my own instructions here. So these two. So if you want to do this, all you need is Pi0WH. So that's Wi-Fi and header. You don't have to have Wi-Fi, but it helps. And the header, well, you can solder it yourself, but I recommend it. No, that's not my SSID. It's Kontoret. And Oh, sorry. And my path is not that, but it's weird. I think that should be it for going over to the firmware application, make steps get, make sure everything's... Whoa. Huh. Did I commit a bug earlier at some point? Well, config target. What line was it? 66. Oh. It's probably been like this. Oh, and system. Man, I've committed entirely broken things because I wasn't using them. I didn't necessarily test them. And here I thought I was cleaning things up for other people. All right. But I was doing it in a hurry. So that's what you get. Let's burn some firmware. And I should already have an upload script, so just nurse.local. I should also rename this hostname wise, because like any new one you try out ends up being nurse.local, and you don't want to accidentally push over something that you're actually using. So should replace it. Call it something else. With some devices, you can see if it's up yet, just because it's doing the whatever it's supposed to do when it's up. Not so much with Inky. It's always showing something. Sorry about the drinking, but I gotta stay alive. Yeah, so I definitely now have a few different displays that we could do interesting things with for upcoming streams, as long as we're doing all of this nerf stuff. I'm hoping to get one of the kiosk systems running with the Pi 400. That would be neat, because then, so a keyboard and a screen straight into LiveView. Hydro homies. I'm guessing you mean that it's important to hydrate. And yeah, I don't recommend energy drinks for hydrating typically. Bye. It's starting up. And there we have it. So if I pick this up and actually look at it, yeah, that seems useful enough. It's also nice that the sort of visible angles that you can look at the information from, at least with human eyes, I'm not sure about this camera, is surprisingly good, because it's not sort of requiring backlight and doesn't warp all that much. So I'll just have to figure out exactly where I want to keep it and how I intend to power it. But I do have a lamp with a USB plug, so I think it will just be plugged into that, get power from that. Or I have another USB-ish power brick. So I might actually put it on top of my computer, have it something I can look at easily. But yeah, that's that part confirmed working. Something else I've been considering. So there's a lot of feature set we could do with this. So we have all this calendar information. There's also sort of managing and adding calendars, and I feel like there's missing a bit of sort of project polish in that I have to actually command line into the device and add a calendar. That's not nice. It works fine. It's absolutely manageable, but it's not all that polished. So I'm considering whether we should probably add a small form for adding calendars. Improve Inky layout and fix config issues. Let's call it that. So if we, in our live view, I don't think we need more separate live views. That seems like a waste of time to me. But if we actually, I think this is just a render function. Yeah, this is just a render function inside here. It's also using the new Heeks thing, so which is neat. I like that. So let's just do a form down here. Action equals, that's just typically what I do in case of broken buttons. So we want an input type text, name. I guess this should have an ID or something. An ID and a name. Calendar. So this, the name of this name is name. I'm not gonna do like change set validation or anything like that. This is not the level of polish we need right now. Break row. Classic. One of the first tags I learned. I think this should be plenty. And let's start the app as well. Yeah, now there's a form. I probably want a header just to separate it. So we're going a little bit over time today, I imagine, but I have some spare time for that. So on my end, that's fine. Yeah, styling. That's not something we're doing a lot of right now, but let's margin top 48 pixels because that made that particular spacing made me angry. Okay, cool. And then let's see. We want to handle info. Oh, handle event. That's what I mean. Add params socket do and no reply socket io.inspect params. See that it works that far. Foo bar. Cool. That works. I believe this is all we need. And I should probably pull this URL. Again, so we add a correct URL, otherwise we're very likely to see some errors here and there. So this is the very secret address of my not very secret thing. So now we've gonna have it added twice. It inserted into calendars. So now if we do calendar app.calendar.list, well, we can see that we have two of them. And that's all it takes to include another calendar in the fight. So yeah, that's a little bit of UI. Maybe we do want to add the functionality for removing these as well. Shouldn't be super involved. So I'm just gonna steal a ton of this. Let's see. Equals 4. Do I have a list of calendars? Probably, maybe. I don't think we pulled that. So let's assume this is what we will have. Calendars. And now this should be possible to actually, let's see, what's the syntax there? Yeah, it's curlies, and then I just made a string. All right. So curlies and calendar.id. That should mean we can hopefully tell these apart. We can always add an input type hidden ID. There are ways to add values to buttons with LiveView as well. It doesn't super matter which approach we use for this, I think. But I would want to then so let's do this as a list of some sort, I guess. And now when we save, expected end of expression, that was unexpected somewhat. Made sense though. Calendar. I don't think calendars is available either. Oh, it was. Nice. Can we put that in there instead? Maybe not have that. Don't. That's a little bit odd because it. Oh. Wait, what? What's going on up there? So this is calendars. That's more expected. And then there's this. What's going on up there? Did it do something weird while patching? While patching the DOM? I think it did. That was not what I would have expected. Because fair enough that it did it while I was working on it, but hey Rabbit, so it's perfectly fine to to ask some questions. That's all welcome. Does Elixir have some end-to-end tooling similar to Cypress? I imagine you can use Cypress, but you write your code in Java / TypeScript. I imagine you're meaning JavaScript, TypeScript. Yeah. Haven't done Cypress, so I'm not sure exactly what it does. Faster for anything that runs in a browser. Okay, so it's browser runner kind of thing. I don't think we have something that exactly matches what Cypress does, but there is Wallaby, which is a good browser driving library. So yes, there is go here, click this, check that this exists, and I think you could probably wrap that fairly tightly depending on how you're doing components and componentization. You could do some pretty interesting things with that. So it's there. Okay, but Marcel, guru of DOM patching, what am I doing wrong here? I figured giving them a name or giving them an ID would typically mean it's just handled. I'm surprised it would patch up there. I guess I could add more ideas. That's always possible. You want to see the codes? I don't know what parts of the code you need to see though. I'll just finish up adding these different section IDs. Maybe give it an idea of the structure that I'm going for. How to explain to your program what the heck you're doing. The socket patch update thingy. Oh, hold on. 80. Oh, there's a div. Heeks, man. Just fixed it. Okay. So that made it stop putting them in weird places. Still means I have way more of them than I would feasibly expect. But let's see where we actually load the calendars. So calendar list. If we actually go down to render, like if we make a P here, inspect signs, like add calendars, just to make sure if that's growing, that's a good reason for it to print multiple. Maybe so yeah, it's just the one. Socket patch update thingy. I don't know what the socket patch update thingy is, but I like the sound of it. Every time it refreshes, it adds another sample calendar. That's unfortunate. So many unique calendars. I've heard Morphdom is not the smartest when it comes to forms, or rather that it has limitations to what it can do when it comes to forms. I didn't expect it to be quite this level. Actually, if I just remove that, that didn't necessarily help. Okay. LiveView multiplying items. Skimming if there's anything interesting here. Inputs for blah blah. Phoenix update replace. Okay, let's see. Phoenix update LiveView. So this is just one of the things I haven't done in LiveView, probably, or don't remember having done. DOM patching and temporary assigns. A container can be marked with Phoenix update, allowing the DOM patch operations to avoid updating and removing portions of the LiveView, or to append or prepend the updates rather than replacing the existing contents. The default operation is replaces the element with the contents. Ignore append instead of replacing. Oh, it must always be set on the container. Yeah, I don't know. This seems like it's accidentally prepending or something. Okay. Well, we can see if Phoenix update. So that would go on the containing thing, right? That's not the container. This is the container. I caught myself on the header. That didn't seem to help, though. And that's supposed to be the default operation. This is also a bit strange because it's repeating all the sample ones. It's like I don't think we even update the calendars assign. Yeah, we do. Okay, we do. But we just pull the list and replace it. And the inspect isn't complaining. I wonder if this is an 1.6 RC thing. We should wrap up just about now, but we should actually check. So okay, duplicate form. I'm curious if I just told it to append instead. Doesn't seem to help. All right, not gonna actually figure this one out for this stream apparently. We can see, we could add the functionality if I have implemented that. Let's see that I have. I probably haven't because I didn't need them. So it would be a delete or a remove. No. All right. So what does my ad look like? It looks like that. So this would be calendar app.repo.get by name and calendar app.repo.delete, something like that. I would expect a name. Undefined function URL, if you say so. Oh, right there. Remove. So for this one, we would also then need. Oh, right. We can just have the ID. That's probably better. I won't finish hooking this up quite right now. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this calendar gadget stream. I have more ideas of what we could do with this one, but I will probably be distracted by all the displays I have in this box next to me for the foreseeable future. We'll see. Feel free to let me know on sort of Twitter or email or whatever if there's anything in particular you would like to see and like to see me get into. I'm happy to consider other people's interests, but I will always end up doing what I feel like in some way. All right. I think that was a decent enough stream of eInk displays and LiveView and assorted other madness. So have a good weekend. Talk soon.